Hello, my name is Michael Lopez. In association with History Class 1302, I would like to present a brief outline, in my opinion, of one of the most influential people of the 1900s, Mr. Andrew Carnegie. For this presentation, I would like to thank author Joseph Fraser Wall and publisher, University of Pittsburgh Press. Wall's biography on Carnegie was my main source for the information that will be provided to you in this video. Andrew Carnegie had many names: the Man of Steel, the modern-day father of philanthropy, and also, for a brief time, the title of the richest man in the world. Andrew was a rag-to-riches story that all Americans can draw hope from in making their own American dream a reality. Andrew Carnegie did just that. But what impressed me most about this man was his willingness to give back. Now, he may not have been perfect in regards to his forceful work demands, but it is clear that Andrew had a strong desire to help others who cannot help themselves. Now, to be confused with Michael Scott's Dunder Mifflin, Andrew was born in the town of Scotland named Dunfermline on November 25, 1832. His father was Will Carnegie and his mother Margaret, who was a strong-willed, to-the-point woman. His father was a hand-loom weaver, and his mother found in-and-out jobs, one being bounding shoes. New industry and less need for hand-loomers forced his family to leave and seek new beginnings. As it states in Wall's Andrew Carnegie biography, the winter of 1847, however, convinced Margaret that there was no other alternative but to migrate. Margaret, as always, could face a reality that Will Carnegie would try to ignore. In 1848, at the age of 13, Andrew and his family migrated to Pittsburgh. Andrew's family, like many in that age, were struggling, finding the means to provide the bare necessities. Andrew was very smart and developed with the new technologies of his time. In Carnegie's biography by Wall, he writes that Andrew had started off as a bobbin boy. Andrew eventually landed a much more prestigious job at O'Reilly Telegraph Office. At the time, telegraph was a breakthrough in technology and a gateway into big business. Andrew, immersing himself in the job, later became known as the Dean of Messengers. The biography states that still wanting to get ahead, he heard of the skill of being able to translate telegrams in your head and speak them instantly. Andrew worked tediously until he mastered this skill, and he quickly became a celebrity in that area, as only a few in the country could do this. This initiative would prove integral on his way to the top. The skill caught the eye of Thomas Scott, who soon hired Andrew. He later impressed Scott, who brought him closer to the railroad business. Soon tasked with learning the ins and outs of the business on a developing railroad between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. During this time with Scott, he learned another very valuable skill: investments. This would catapult him into success. Using some inside information, he learned that steel was going to be a very lucrative investment. He made the decision to open a steel manufacturing plant. His plan was to be the best in the business, and he did just that. Andrew Carnegie became one of the wealthiest, most powerful men at that time. He had a strong desire to give back to the world. One of his more fond habits was to give a library to the communities. This is what made Carnegie stand out. And although he was willing to give back to his people, his factories did not follow suit with that same mindset. Carnegie's factories did not help the working class any better than factories of that time. His image was tainted when a conflict broke out between hired thugs and workers, which led to the death of 4 people. Although Carnegie never fully regained his image of the worker's friend, his companies continued making exorbitant amounts of money and power. In 1901, Carnegie sold his steel company for $480 million to J.P. Morgan, ranking the highest buyout in American history up to that point. With this deal, Carnegie had become the wealthiest man in the world. Leading up to his death in 1919, he lived his life by one of his most well-known quotes: "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." He ended up giving the vast majority, around $350 million, to charity. The remaining wealth was divided between his family, who continued his works through the Carnegie Foundation. The reason I chose Andrew Carnegie was that he stuck out to me as an opportunist. That strikes a chord with me, and I would say many others. He is an example to follow. I think the reason his life is so meaningful to Americans is because he embodies the idea of a self-made man. He worked hard to make his life as successful as it was, to fulfill the American dream. I find it reassuring that sometimes hard work pays off. It is impossible for everyone to become as successful as Carnegie, but it is also very possible for many to find success through hard work and discipline. Carnegie showed me that initiative, good work ethic, and hard work can often pay off.